Welcome to the Vintage Collection channel. Today we are taking a deep dive into the lives of remarkable women from the Wild West, who captivated hearts, built their own wealth, and left legacies that still resonate today. Belle Starr was a force to be reckoned with in a world of outlaws. Born in 1848, this fiery beauty became one of the most notorious women in Wild West history. Known as the Bandit Queen, she wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty. Belle married twice, and each time, her husbands were notorious criminals. Her fame spread not only because of her beauty, but her audacity and cunning in a man's world. She knew the ins and outs of the lawless frontier like few others. For money, she engaged in everything from horse trading to running a profitable business, but her real wealth came from outsmarting the law. Martha Jane Canary, better known as Calamity Jane, wasn't just an outlaw or a saloon girl. She was a hero of the Wild West. Born in 1852, Jane's claim to fame didn't come from her looks alone. It came from her fearlessness and her ability to do everything men did, and sometimes better. She was a sharpshooter, a scout for the U.S. Army, and a fearless frontierswoman. Calamity Jane lived the hard life, often dressing like a man, smoking cigars and drinking whiskey. But what set her apart was her role in history. She worked alongside famous figures like Wild Bill Hickok and became a symbol of toughness. Jane worked as a stagecoach driver, and in her later years, she ran a laundry business, always looking for ways to support herself. What made her so captivating was her unapologetic spirit. She didn't care about society's rules. She made her own. I bet you've heard the name Annie Oakley before. She is the embodiment of a Wild West legend who combined beauty with extraordinary skill. Born in 1860, she quickly became a household name due to her unrivaled ability with a rifle. Oakley didn't just shoot for fun. She turned it into an art form. Her performances in Buffalo Bill's Wild West show brought her fame across America and Europe. She could shoot a cigarette from a man's lips, hit targets from impossible distances, and even shoot with her back turned. Her beauty was undeniable, but it was her incredible talent and precision that truly made her irresistible. Oakley earned a handsome sum performing for crowds, and her fame made her a global star. She was often the sole woman on the stage, outshining many men with her shooting skills and her confident attitude. Despite her success, Annie Oakley faced discrimination because of her gender, but she refused to let it hold her back. She used her platform to advocate for women's rights and women in the shooting sport, becoming an icon of empowerment. Today, her name is still synonymous with excellence and grace under pressure, making her one of the most admired women in the Wild West. Etta Place is one of the Wild West's most intriguing and mysterious figures. Little is known about her early life, but what we do know is enough to make her unforgettable. She became famous as the lover and partner in crime of the infamous outlaw Butch Cassidy. Her beauty, grace, and composure made her stand out in a world dominated by rough men. Though she wasn't as active in the criminal world as some of the other women, Etta was no less bold. She traveled with Butch and the Sundance Kid, and some reports say she was an excellent horsewoman and shot with precision. She was said to have been involved in some dangerous activities but still managed to keep a low profile. The mystery surrounding her life, who she was, where she came from, and what became of her, only increased her appeal. Josie Earp, wife of the legendary lawman Wyatt Earp, was much more than just the wife of a famous man. She was a savvy businesswoman in her own right. Born in 1861, Josie spent years traveling the frontier with her husband and played a significant role in the development of Tombstone and other parts of the Wild West. Her beauty was noted by many, but it was her business acumen that allowed her to thrive in a time when most women were expected to stay in the background. Josie ran a boarding house, managed investments, and even dabbled in the world of mining. She understood the economy of the frontier better than most and knew how to make money in a way few women at the time could. Josie was much more than just a supportive wife. She became a symbol of the evolving role of women in the Wild West. She was not just a companion to Wyatt, but a strong and independent woman who knew how to hold her own in the rough, unforgiving world they inhabited. Mary and Big Nose Kate, born in 1850, was one of the Wild West's most intriguing and misunderstood women. While her unusual nickname came from a derogatory remark, Kate proved her worth by becoming one of the most loyal and fiercely independent women of the era. She was a saloon girl, and later, she found herself in the arms of one of the West's most notorious figures, Doc Holliday. Kate wasn't just the lover of a legendary gunfighter. She was a woman in her own right with a fiery temper and the courage to back it up. She traveled with Doc Holliday, and despite his health issues and their tumultuous relationship, Kate was steadfast in her devotion to him. She often found herself in the same dangerous circles as other notorious figures like Wyatt Earp, but her ability to navigate the roughest environments, both emotionally and physically, was what made her memorable. Pearl Hart challenged everything about the typical Wild West narrative. Born in 1871, Pearl was known for being one of the few women to rob a stagecoach, and her story became one of the most sensational of its time. She was born into a poor family and married young, but after a failed marriage and years of hardship, she decided to take her fate into her own hands. With her beauty, she convinced a partner, Joe Boot, to help her rob a stagecoach near Arizona. Though they were caught and she was eventually sent to jail, Pearl's fame grew after her trial, where her beauty and demeanor caught the eye of the public. After serving her time, she was released, and later, she married again and lived a quiet life. Lily Langtry wasn't a typical Wild West figure. Born in 1853 in the Channel Islands, she became known as Jersey Lily, an actress and socialite whose beauty and charisma captivated audiences from London to the American frontier. While she wasn't exactly a frontierswoman or outlaw, Lily made a name for herself when she visited the West as part of a larger tour. She wasn't just beautiful. She was a woman of intellect and poise, a pioneer of a different sort, who influenced the men and women she encountered. Her fame spread to the American West, where she was welcomed by wealthy men who saw her as a symbol of sophistication and grace. Lily performed on stage, and while she wasn't part of the rough and tumble world of cowboys and outlaws, her performances in Western cities left a lasting mark on the cultural landscape. Her affair with the famous American millionaire and sportsman, the Prince of Wales, only added to her allure, making her one of the most sought-after women in both the Old World and the New. Each of these women carved out a space for themselves in a world that was not kind to women, proving that beauty and brains, strength, and audacity could shape legacies that would endure for generations. They weren't just women of the West, they were legends in their own right. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to the Vintage Collection channel and turn on your post notifications so that you don't miss out on the next video.